Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right into this, because what we're watching right now, it isn't just another sports tournament. The current World Cup is seriously shaping up to be the most important and widely watched in the entire history of humanity. I know, that sounds like a massive claim, but the data and the sheer global enthusiasm from the US to Asia, plus the literally unprecedented social media engagement we're seeing, totally backs it up. So let's break down exactly why this specific tournament is so incredibly historic, starting with a really close look at the tactical masterclass that's defining the stakes right now.
You know, someone recently summed this up perfectly with a quote that just hit the nail on the head. They said, "We're watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe endgame of football." And honestly, they're totally right. This is a true, literal passing of the torch taking place on the biggest global stage imaginable. It's not just another year in the sport. It's the definitive middle point where two completely distinct eras of football are colliding in real time.
Just think about the names for a second. This is for sure the one and only time we are ever going to see these two generations share the exact same World Cup pitch. You've got the legendary old guard, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Luka Modric, Kevin De Bruyne, and Neymar. And standing right across from them, you have the new blood, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Lamine Yamal. For the veterans, we all know this is their final curtain call. But for the young superstars, it's their grand entrance. It's this crazy, unique crossover event that we are literally never going to see again.
And look, they aren't just showing up for the cameras, they are absolutely dominating. Everyone is arriving at the party and just feasting. You've got Mbappe scoring twice in absolutely crucial moments. You've got Haaland literally tying his hair back and ruthlessly dropping double goals against teams like Senegal. Then there's Messi delivering braces and hat tricks, while the incredibly young Yamal has already secured his first goal. With all these massive players lighting up the pitch, there was this really intense, almost boiling anticipation surrounding one specific guy who hadn't really had his defining moment yet.
But when Cristiano Ronaldo finally scored his first goal of the tournament, he didn't just join the party, right? He made history. 6. To put that into perspective, that is the unprecedented amount of World Cup editions in which Cristiano Ronaldo has now scored. He's the only player in the entire history of football to do this. His return to form was basically an inevitable historic milestone that the whole world was just sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for.
Section 1. Portugal's Tactical Masterclass and How They Overcame the Doubts.
So, remember that super frustrating opening draw against DR Congo? The media criticism was absolutely intense. Doubts were just swirling everywhere about Portugal's cohesion and their whole tactical setup. They desperately needed a response. Now, going into the tournament, we all know they were heavily favored, and looking at their elite arsenal, it makes total sense. I mean, they boast arguably the best fullbacks in the world with Nuno Mendes and João Cancelo. They have a world-class, insanely creative midfield anchored by Bruno Fernandes, plus dangerous wingers like Pedro Neto, devastating impact subs like Rafael Leao, a top-tier international goalkeeper, and, yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Against Uzbekistan, they finally unleashed all of that insane depth. And they did it with a highly specific plan to just dismantle their deep-sitting defense. It was like watching a puzzle click together. First, they created a massive overload on the left side of the pitch, pushing João Felix, Nuno Mendes, Bruno Fernandes, and Ronaldo all into that one zone. What did this do? Well, it deliberately drew the entire Uzbek defense way over to the left. And that strategic pull created absolute acres of open space on the far right side for João Cancelo. So, Cancelo gets the ball in all that space, delivers a gorgeous cross to Ronaldo, who makes this brilliant run from the back for a near-post finish. Just a perfectly executed step-by-step masterclass. And man, once that first goal went in, the floodgates literally burst open. It turned into a 5-0 rout. That tactical setup basically allowed Portugal's entire roster to just thrive out there. Bruno Fernandes was consistently tearing apart the defense right between the center backs. Nuno Mendes nailed a beautiful free kick. Rafael Leao came off the bench and got in on the action. Basically, Portugal systematically fixed every single negative issue that was haunting them from that opening game against DR Congo.
Moving on to Section 2, the Colombia decider. Pure chaos and insanely high stakes.
Now, Portugal's upcoming match against Colombia, it is not just another game. It carries massive, tournament-altering implications for their entire path to the final. Let's break it down. If Portugal tops their group, they secure a significantly easier path. We could even be looking at a historic quarterfinal matchup against Lionel Messi and Argentina, which would be wild. But if they stumble and finish second, they immediately run into the big dogs of the tournament, teams like France, Spain, or England, super early in the knockout stages. So finishing first is absolutely essential if they want to avoid a brutal early exit.
But here is the major problem. The exact tactical template Portugal just used to brush aside Uzbekistan? Actually, scratch that. It is absolutely not going to work here. Uzbekistan played with a deep defense and super low attacking intensity. Colombia is a completely different beast. They are highly physical, exceptionally aggressive, and wildly dangerous on the counterattack. Portugal is going to have to be incredibly careful with the ball, because against a team like Colombia, losing possession even for a second could instantly trigger a lethal counterattack.
And just to add even more suspense to the mix, we've got the DR Congo wildcard. Because DR Congo plays such an incredibly physical style, they could very realistically force a draw against Colombia in their matchup. And if that happens, it injects this whole new layer of chaotic stakes into the final group match day. It would totally shake up the points dynamic for literally everyone involved.
Which brings us to Section 3, the road to glory, and football's incredibly unpredictable landscape.
If we zoom out for a second and look at the wider tournament landscape, you really see just how dangerous the path is. While the superstars we talked about are shining, entire powerhouses are just collapsing. I mean, the African champions, Senegal, have been a massive disappointment so far, getting exactly 0 points against Norway and France. And meanwhile, traditional giants like England have already stumbled in a really tough match against Ghana. It just proves that in this tournament, absolutely no team is safe.
And the sheer volume of threats waiting in the knockout stages is honestly terrifying. You got disciplined powerhouses like Germany and the Netherlands just looming. You have highly tactical, relentless teams like Japan. The inevitable clashes between all these group leaders are going to be brutal, high-stakes battles. The knockouts are guaranteed to be absolute chaos.
So, what does this all mean for Portugal? Well, if they can expertly navigate this intense Colombian threat, if they can just hold their nerve, manage possession, and actually break down that highly aggressive team, they don't just advance. A decisive win here will officially cement their status as the certified, true tournament favorites in this historic World Cup.
Which brings us to our final thought. We are watching the undisputed veterans of the sport's greatest era fiercely defend their legacy against the rising titans of tomorrow. And they're doing it under the most intense global spotlight in history. As we enter the utter chaos of the knockout stages, who will actually survive football's ultimate generational endgame? It's the one question that will define this historic tournament. Keep your eyes on the pitch, and we'll see how this whole crazy drama unfolds.